was a bit out of point with the discussion, but I think this has been overtaken by the latest contribution. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I want to believe that the list now is exhausted. So we now yield the floor to the chairman, rapporteur, co-chair of the committee to respond to the concerns of members.
Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. A few comments have been made from the floor on the two resolutions that are submitted by the joint committee, and it is clear that with exactly as it happened with other committees, the commissioner did not attend and justified the fact that they were not present by saying that a meeting was taking place concomitantly in Africa, in Accra, and they were represented by acting directors, both. And the ECOWAS Commission in the past days until the end of the month has been having meetings, so that situation is complicating and disturbed in a certain way the work of the interaction between the commissioners and the ECOWAS Commission. So I do hope that we, everyone would understand the situation, and because in spite of that, we had to continue the work as is the case with other joint committees. Now, I would like to, as far as the content is concerned, in fact, the presentation that was made by the representatives of the ECOWAS, more or less, but they laid emphasis on the points that were being amended that deserved some adjustments because of the elements I just mentioned, i.e. COVID, technological process, and the economic situations prevailing in our respective countries. So it is clear that small and medium enterprises in our countries, SMEs, are practically those which support our economies. And we had lengthy debates on the small and medium enterprises, particularly as regards the informal sector, because most of our small and medium enterprises, in fact, operate in the informal sector, which means that they were debated as well. But in fact, we are here talking about updating these regulations following amendments. If we agree to those amendments made to those two resolutions. As regards the chairman of the Committee on Industry and Private Sector, in fact, we did not want to be late in our work, because in fact the chairman is an MP from Guinea-Conakry, but because of the suspension of that country from ECOWAS, it was in fact necessary to find a new chair. We announced it in plenary. We announced that there was a substitution, a replacement, but after that another country came up, Burkina Faso, which was again suspended, and this in fact complicated the whole process. And that is why they decided at the level of administration that the Secretary General and the Director of Parliamentary Affairs decided that a new chairman would co-chair that meeting of the joint committee. Now, this is what happened actually, and I think that the administration of Parliament could explain better the situation, but the work has been done, and we would now like to request our MP colleagues, MPs, to approve these two regulations so that the Council of Ministers, which is now going to be taking place in Accra, can also endorse the amendments to the two regulations. So I don't know whether or not the co-chair, Honorary Keba Barrow, is going to submit it now. Otherwise, we would like just to submit those two resolutions for tabling those two resolutions for adoption, endorsement, approval by plenary. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Colleagues, we assume that the discussion on this matter is now closed. Thank you very much. Maybe as a rider is for the secretary to take note of what has been mentioned, particular reference to the appearance of commissioners in person whenever committees are seated. This is important, and it's good you have a formal communication to the commission, drawing their attention to the concerns of members. Two, on the issues of date race, it's important too that if they have referrals, it's good to give to our committees ahead of time so that they can do a thorough job and will be out of the concern that members have now raised. I think these are two additional issues that could be of importance to the Commission. Thank you, and to all of us, in the interest of harmony and good working relationship. Respected colleagues, the draft report of the Joint Committee on Industry and Private Sector, Energy and Mines, Microeconomic Policies and Economic Research is submitted to the plan for adoption. I want to seek for consent for adoption. Adopted? Thank you. Members of the committee still have the floor to present the draft resolution of the ECOWAS Parliament on the draft committee text before it. Once again, I invite the co-rapporteurs to take the floor. It has already been presented. Members, any concern, or do we go ahead to adopt the resolution? Thank you. In the absence of any comment, intervention, the report of the resolution is here presented for adoption. Adopted? Thank you. We want to appreciate the chair, co-chairs, rapporteurs, and members of the committee for the very thorough job and good job done. We sincerely thank you. You may take your seat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Distinguished respected colleagues, the next agenda is a consideration and adoption of the draft report of the Joint Committee on Administration, Finance and Budget, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Telecommunication and Information Technology, Public Accounts Committee. The co-chair and the co-rapporteurs of the Joint Committee on Administration, Finance and Budget, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Telecommunications and Information Technology, Committee on Public Accounts have the floor to present the summaries of their reports to the plenary. you have the floor to present your report.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues, we are here
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Dear colleagues, we are here to present the report of the Joint Committee on Administration, Finance and Budget, Legal Affairs, Human Rights, Telecommunications and Information Technology, and Public Accounts on the referral on the draft supplementary act on the decision-making mode of ECOWAS institutions. Our presentation will take the following format. I will take the explanatory introduction, and afterwards the rapporteur, Honorable Veronica, will read the conclusions and recommendations cumulatively along with the resolutions. Dear colleagues, we met the presence of staff of the Commission to share useful information with us on the draft supplementary act on the classification of matters to be considered and the modes of decision making. There are 7 articles. The first one is definition, next object, and then next one classification, and then decision making. The first one entry into force, 5th amendments and revision, and 6th publication, 7th the last, of course, depository authorities. What was of more concern to us was Article 3, which talks about the statutory organs and the classification of decisions at this stage. I would like to point out that there are 3 decision-making modes on the matters identified in the Supplementary Act. The first one is unanimity, and on this mode of decision, the matters captured is that, for instance, if a third party country wants to accede, and then secondly, if our community wishes to grant an observer status to a country, and then the third one, if our community in these matters should be unanimous. The second decision-making mode is by consensus. And here, this involves all matters concerning peace and security, a common currency, good governance, tourism, economy, infrastructure, and all aspects of development, so that the statutory organs, namely the Council of Ministers, the Authority of Heads of State and Government, these decisions will be by consensus. And then there is a third mode of decision making, which is an exceptional mode, that is by 2/3 majority. On this mode, the statutory organs will decide either by unanimity or consensus, but the clarification is that it will only depend on the prevailing circumstance as at the time of the decision being taken, and which will be in the interest of the community. So essentially, these are the 3 modes that the Supplementary Act provides in terms of decision-making mode. And so now I'm going to call on the rapporteur, Honorable Veronica, who will read the conclusion, recommendation, and at the same time to read the resolutions. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. With your permission, I will give the floor to Honorable Veronica.
Very much. Mine is to present the conclusion, the recommendations, and amendments. Members of the Joint Committee again commended the ECOWAS Commission for coming up with this draft supplementary act that will tackle the diverse requests on issues that will require important decision-making. The Joint Committee recommends to the plenary to give a favorable opinion to ECOWAS Commission for the Council of Ministers and authorities of heads of state to adopt the draft. Supplementary Act SA.XX/12/21 on the classification of matters to be considered and the modes of decision making. The co-chair thanked the members of the Joint Committee, the ECOWAS Commission team, the Administration of Parliament, and all other participants that contributed to the success of the meeting. In the absence of further deliberations, the meeting was adjourned, done in Abuja on this day of 23rd June 2022. The signatories are as follows. I will now go to the resolution. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, has deliberated and adopted during its sittings of the 25th June 2022 the following resolution. 1. Article 1 issues a favorable opinion on the adoption of the classification of matters and modes of decision making by ECOWAS statutory bodies. Article 2 mandates the Speaker to forward this resolution to the President of the Commission, done in Abuja on the 25th June 2022 for the plenary. Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Co-Chair Rapporteurs, for the good job. Now the floor is open for intervention by honorable members. No. Honorable Vlani. Yes, sir.
Je ne vais pas.
I am not going to lengthen the debate unduly, but the intervention made by many colleagues, a number of colleagues who were of the view that whenever we talk about the Supplementary Act, Parliament must request it that that act be made available to MPs. We had concluded that administration would strive to ensure that each MP can take cognizance of it. And on that note, the Honorable Speaker said that the computer documents dated 25 June, while we are today is the 27th. And there again, a strong recommendation was made for there to be review, redrafting of our deliberations or reports so that they tally with the dates at which these documents are adopted. Well, people might say that these are details, but details are very often the bedrock for the devil. So once again, I thank you and congratulate you for a work well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Abdjibo.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, I apologize. I congratulate myself first because I am a member of this committee, so I congratulate myself and members of the committee for the work done. But what I am going to say remove nothing from the quality of the work or the resolution per se. I simply would like to say here now that what was I going to say, says the Speaker. What